The void burned with wreckage. Aurora Prime's orbit was littered with twisted metal, drifting corpses, and silent flames that flickered in the vacuum like dying stars. Admiral Vera Solon stood at the edge of her flagship's bridge, eyes locked on the tactical display. Red markers bloomed across the screen where once stood proud Terran warships. Another squadron lost. Another humiliation. Reinforcements are 3 hours out, her chief of staff murmured, voice cautious. The rebels control the orbital lanes. If they push further. They already have. Vera cut him off. Her jaw tightened. Discipline was her creed, but fury bubbled beneath the surface. The Auroran front had humiliated Earth's most formidable fleet not once, but 5 times. Her career balanced on the edge of disgrace. Order demanded restoration, and yet order slipped further with each passing hour. Her eyes narrowed on the wreckage. She had thrown cruisers, destroyers, even elite marines at the rebels. All had failed. Her officers waited, knowing there was only one order left unspoken. Vera's fingers curled around the command rail. "Bring me Kael'Rin," she said. The bridge fell silent. Faces turned. A name like a weapon drawn. Her staff hesitated. "Admiral. Rin is disgraced, insubordinate, and dangerous," she snapped. "Yes. And still the only man alive who wins battles everyone else calls lost. Find him." Kael'Rin sat on a rusted balcony overlooking the scrapyards of Alara Station, a fringe world colony where broken ships came to die. The air stank of melted alloys and burnt fuel. He liked it here, among the discarded. Nobody asked questions, and nobody gave orders. That suited him fine. The encrypted data pad on his table chimed. He almost ignored it. Then the seal appeared, UTA command crest, black and silver. His lip curled. They had finally remembered he existed. Kael tapped the screen. The message was short. "Report immediately. Priority 1. Failure equals treason." He chuckled. "Treason. They never run out of labels, do they?" His voice carried a dry amusement that didn't quite reach his eyes. The door behind him creaked open. A lean figure stepped out, his mechanic and occasional drinking partner, Tove. Grease stained his hands, and a cigarette glowed between his fingers. "Bad news?" he asked. Kael tilted the datapad toward him. "Depends how you define it. Earth wants its black sheep back." Tove whistled. "After what you did? They must be desperate. Desperate enough to beg." Kael leaned back, chair groaning. "Solon must be choking on her pride. She'd sooner eat glass than call me." "You're not going, are you?" Kael smirked. "I told myself I was done. No more chains. No more commands." His gaze drifted past the scrapyards, to the stars burning cold above. "But when they call me, it means something's gone so wrong the galaxy can smell the smoke. That I can't ignore." Tove exhaled smoke through his teeth. "You'll get killed. Or worse, dragged back into their leash." "They never managed to hold the leash before," Kael said. "That hasn't changed." The shuttle they sent was sleek, black, unmarked, the kind reserved for covert extractions. Kael boarded without ceremony. Inside, uniformed soldiers eyed him as though he were a predator loose in their cage. None dared speak. He stretched across the seat, arms folded, as if daring them to try. The journey to the fleet felt endless. Kael closed his eyes, but his thoughts wandered back to the last time he wore a UTA uniform. Orders had been clear: abandon the civilians of Eridos and retreat before rebel bombardment. He had disobeyed, leading a counterstrike that saved thousands. Victory had been his. Gratitude had been the civilians. But the UTA didn't reward defiance. His court-martial had been swift. Stripped of rank, cast aside. Insubordination unbecoming of a soldier, they said. Yet here they were, dragging him back. Hypocrites. The shuttle docked with the dreadnought iron vow. The air aboard reeked of polished steel and discipline. Soldiers saluted as Admiral Vera Solon appeared at the hangar entrance, her presence sharp as a blade. She hadn't changed, Tall, severe, eyes that cut through armor. Cale descended the ramp with casual swagger. "Admiral. Been too long. You look tense." "Rin," she replied, each syllable tight. "You'll address me properly." "I just did." He smiled thinly. "You summoned me. I assume you're out of miracles." A murmur rippled among nearby officers. Vera silenced it with a glare. She stepped closer, lowering her voice so only he could hear. "Don't mistake desperation for forgiveness. You are here because I have no choice. Fail me, and I'll see your body launched into the nearest star." Cale tilted his head. "Fail you, succeed for humanity. We'll see which matters more." The briefing chamber glowed with holographic projections. Rebel fleet markers dominated the sector map. Colonies burned under shifting control. Vera gestured sharply. "The Auroran front grows bolder each cycle. They've humiliated our fleets. I need a mind unpredictable enough to outmaneuver theirs. That means you." Cale leaned back, arms crossed. "You want me to break your rules again. Difference is, last time, you called it insubordination. This time," she said, voice icy, "I'll call it sanctioned." Their eyes locked. The room felt colder. "You'll infiltrate the rebels," Vera continued. "Pose as a mercenary. Gain their trust. Identify leadership weaknesses. When the signal comes, dismantle them from within. I'll deliver the killing blow." Cale studied the map. He thought of the civilians he'd saved, of the cries he'd ignored before, when orders bound his hands. "And if I find the rebels have a point? That they're fighting tyranny?" Her expression hardened. "Then you'll remember who you serve." "I serve people," he said softly. "Not thrones." The silence that followed was heavier than the vacuum outside. Officers exchanged uneasy glances. Finally, Vera's voice cut the air. "You will obey, or you will die." Cale rose, straightened his coat, and smiled without warmth. "You should know by now, Admiral. I don't take orders." That night, as the Iron Vow prepared for its next assault, Cale stood alone at the viewport. Stars glittered, indifferent to human wars. Somewhere out there, rebels plotted their freedom, Earth clung to its dominance, and millions of ordinary souls hung between them. He whispered to himself, voice barely audible against the hum of the ship. "Let's see who really deserves to win." And for the first time since his disgrace, Captain Cale Rin walked back into the storm. The transport dropped Cale on a barren moon at the edge of rebel territory. The place was little more than rock and dust, with a scattering of makeshift structures dug into its surface. No banners, no insignias, just hidden outposts, the kind rebels used when survival meant invisibility. The shuttle lifted away, leaving him in silence. Cale adjusted his jacket and scanned the ridgeline. He wasn't here as a soldier. He was here as a mercenary, a man selling skills to the highest bidder. It wasn't a disguise, it was close enough to truth. Two figures emerged from the shadows. Both armed, faces masked. Their weapons didn't waver. "Name?" one demanded. Cale spread his hands. "Depends who's asking. If you're recruiting, I'm Rin. If you're here to kill me, I've never met me before." The taller one sneered. "You think this is funny? I think walking out with rifles pointed at me suggests you're not offering tea," Cale replied evenly. The shorter fighter lowered her weapon slightly. "He doesn't talk like a loyalist." She studied him, eyes sharp beneath the mask. "Why are you here?" "Because Earth owes me nothing, and I owe them less," Cale said. "You need fighters. I'm good at making problems disappear." The taller guard exchanged a glance with her. Reluctantly, they gestured. "Follow us. Try anything, you're dead." The rebel outpost was carved into stone, half bunker, half cave. Rusted lights hummed overhead. Cale walked through corridors lined with scavenged equipment, worn uniforms, and the weary faces of colonists turned soldiers. These weren't professionals. They were farmers, engineers, miners, pressed into a war they hadn't asked for. At the center, in a chamber buzzing with tactical displays, stood Commander Lyra Dane. She was younger than Cale expected, mid-30s, with cropped black hair and an intensity that burned hotter than the reactor hum behind her. She didn't posture like a warlord, she carried herself like someone forced into command by necessity. The guards shoved Kale forward. Found him snooping around. Calls himself Rin. Lyra's gaze swept over him. You're far from home. Why? Kale shrugged. Because I'm tired of Earth pretending it owns the stars. I've seen what they do when people step out of line. Her eyes narrowed. And what makes you different from every drifter who claims they hate Earth? Half of them are spies. The other half are cowards. Kale leaned forward, voice low but steady. Difference is, I don't take orders from Earth. Or from anyone else. The room stilled. Lyra studied him for a long moment, then gestured to dismiss the guards. You talk like a man who's burned bridges, she said. What did you do? Saved a planet I was told to abandon, Kale replied. Cost me a uniform. Best trade I ever made. That earned him a flicker of interest. Not trust, but curiosity. She tested him quickly. Within an hour, Kale found himself in a briefing room surrounded by rebel officers. A holographic map displayed their defenses, scattered fleets, hit-and-run tactics, no central stronghold. Lyra spoke. Earth's admiral will strike again soon. We can't match her firepower. We need information, leverage, something to give us an edge. You claim you're useful, Rin. Prove it. How would you keep us alive? Kale studied the map, hands clasped behind his back. Stop trying to fight her fleet head-on. You'll never win that way. Instead, bleed her. Hit supply lines, sabotage fuel depots, target morale. Turn her strength into a burden. One officer scoffed. That's easy to say. Do you even know where those depots are? Kale smirked. I know Earth's logistics better than most of your spies. They run predictable routes, because admirals trust routine more than imagination. I can show you where to cut the veins. The officers muttered among themselves. Lyra's gaze never left him. And why would you help us? Because your fight makes sense, Kale said simply. I don't believe in Earth's chains. But don't mistake me for loyal. I'm here because I choose to be, not because I owe you. Lyra's lips tightened. Choice is a luxury in war. Around here, loyalty keeps us alive. Loyalty got my men killed, Kale said, voice sharp for the first time. I follow results. If that offends you, throw me out. But if you want to win, you'll let me work. The silence stretched. Finally, Lyra spoke. You're dangerous. I don't trust you, but I need you. Later, in the dim glow of the barracks, Kale sat on a cot that smelled of rust and sweat. Rebels whispered around him, casting wary glances. He didn't mind. Distrust kept people honest. Lyra entered, her boots echoing on the metal floor. She stopped at his cot, arms folded. You saved civilians once. That makes you less of a monster than most mercenaries. But don't think for a second I'll forget who you are. And who's that? Kale asked. A man with no master, she said. That makes you useful. It also makes you unpredictable. Kale smiled faintly. Then you understand me better than most. Her expression softened for the briefest moment, then hardened again. You'll lead a strike tomorrow. A small job, supply raid. Consider it a test. Fail and you're gone. Succeed, and maybe you earn a place here. Kale leaned back. I don't care about a place. I care about the fight. She studied him for a heartbeat, then turned away. We'll see which side you're fighting for. That night, Kale didn't sleep. He watched shadows crawl across the barrack ceiling, replaying every word. The rebels weren't saints. He'd seen the hunger in some eyes, the thirst for vengeance as much as freedom. But he'd also seen the raw determination of people willing to risk everything to breathe without chains. He thought of Admiral Solon, cold and ruthless, demanding obedience above all. He thought of Lyra Dane, wary but unwilling to bend. Two leaders, both certain of their cause. And him, the outcast, caught between. He whispered to the dark, voice steady as steel. I'll find the truth. Even if I burn both sides to do it. And with that, Kale Rin became a rebel, at least for now. The rebel strike had been clean. Too clean. Kale led a small unit against a UTA convoy near the edge of the Taros Belt. Explosives tore through cargo haulers, fire lit the void, and supplies meant for Solin's fleet scattered into nothing. The rebels cheered. For them, it was proof of strength. For Kale, it was confirmation of Earth's desperation. But when they returned to the outpost, Lyra Dane was waiting with a hardened expression. A secure comm channel glowed beside her desk, still pulsing with the UTA crest. "You've been holding out on us," she said flatly. Kale's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "That," she pointed at the console, "was Admiral Solin. She contacted you. Not us. Which means you're playing both sides." Kale stepped closer, voice calm. "Solin dragged me back because she's losing. She wants me inside your ranks. That doesn't mean I take her leash." Lyra's gaze burned. "If you're lying, you'll bury every soul here. Rebels have no room for double agents." "Then it's fortunate I'm not one," Kale replied evenly. "What did she say?" Lyra folded her arms. "Enough. She wants updates. She threatened you. She told you what I already know. Earth will scorch worlds rather than lose them." Kale's jaw tightened. "Planet killer." The word landed like a stone. Officers around the room stiffened. Lyra's lips pressed in. "She didn't use the term," Lyra admitted. "But she didn't have to. We've intercepted fragments, rumors of a weapon designed to vaporize entire surfaces. They'll use it here, Kale. On Aurora Prime. On my people." Silence hung. Kale's chest tightened. He'd seen devastation before, but the thought of whole cities erased in one stroke clawed at him. Lyra's voice steadied. "We have days, maybe less. If we don't stop it, this rebellion ends in ash." Later, Kale stood alone in the hangar, staring at the battered fighters lined up like weary soldiers. His comm unit buzzed. Solin's voice spilled through, sharp and commanding. "You've had long enough, Rin. Where is their leadership? Their fleet? I want coordinates." Kale exhaled slowly. "You want me to hand them to you? Then you'll glass Aurora and call it victory. This is war," Solin snapped. "Order must survive, no matter the price. Do not mistake hesitation for mercy. They're civilians, Vera. Farmers. Families. Not soldiers. Collateral," she corrected coldly. "I didn't drag you back for your conscience. Deliver results or I'll ensure you vanish with them." The channel cut. Kale stood frozen, fists clenched. He wasn't surprised by her cruelty. But hearing it spoken so plainly set the decision before him like a blade on the table. When he returned to the command chamber, Lyra was waiting. "You spoke with her?" she said. Not a question. Kale nodded. "She'll burn Aurora to make an example." Her hands tightened around the table edge. "Then help us stop her. You know Earth's codes. You know their fleets." Kale met her gaze. "And what happens if you win? Do you think rebels united by desperation will suddenly build peace? I've seen the hunger for power in some of your men. You'll trade one tyranny for another." Lyra's eyes flashed. "So you'll stand by and watch us die?" "No," Kale said firmly. "I'll stop Earth. But don't mistake me for your soldier either." For a moment, anger lit her face. Then, reluctantly, she stepped back. "Do what you must. But if you betray us, I'll kill you myself." Kale almost smiled. "Fair." Night fell on the outpost, though the barren moon offered no real darkness. Kale worked alone in the comms chamber, hands dancing across stolen consoles. He broke into UTA's secure channels, weaving codes only he still remembered. His plan wasn't to hand rebels coordinates, nor to obey Solin's demands. His plan was riskier: sabotage the weapon before it could fire. Lines of code shifted, encryptions fell. He found it, project cauterize. A fleet-mounted warhead designed to rip planetary crust apart. The target was clear: Aurora Prime. Launch sequence, scheduled within 48 hours. Kale swallowed hard. He had little time. He entered false confirmations into the system, buying hours. Enough to move. Enough to act. But once Solon discovered the interference, she'd know exactly who betrayed her. The next day, Lyra approached him as he prepared gear. "You're leaving," she said. "I'm moving to intercept the weapon," Kale answered. "If I fail, Aurora burns. If I succeed, Earth learns it can't control the galaxy with fear." Lyra stepped closer. "You'll die out there." "Maybe." Kale checked his rifle. "But better that than standing still." For the first time, her expression softened, a flicker of respect breaking through suspicion. "Why are you really doing this, Rin?" "Not for loyalty. Not for us." Kale paused. His voice dropped. "Because I'm tired of watching the powerful decide who lives and who doesn't. Someone has to say no." The words hung between them. Lyra gave a single nod. "Then go. And if you come back, maybe I'll start to believe you." Kale's fighter lifted off from the rebel moon, engines screaming against the void. Ahead lay a sector burning with conflict, Earth's fleet massing for final destruction, rebels scattering like sparks in the dark. He locked course for the warhead carrier. His comm buzzed again, Solon's voice cutting through. "You've made your choice, haven't you? Traitor." Kale smirked without joy. "Funny. You call me traitor when I'm the only one still fighting for humanity. You think you'll save them?" she hissed. "You'll die forgotten." "Maybe," he said, eyes narrowing as the carrier loomed ahead. "But at least I won't die a slave." He killed the channel and dove into the fire. As alarms screamed across the UTA fleet, Kale threaded his fighter between burning frigates. Rebel ships swarmed, chasing shadows of survival. Explosions tore through the black. In the chaos, Kale locked onto the carrier's bay doors. His hands tightened around the controls. One shot. One chance. "Let's end this," he muttered. The fighter plunged toward the carrier, missiles armed, engines roaring. Behind him, rebels fought for their world. Ahead, Earth prepared to erase it.